As with all my videos and narration, it's totally unscripted. Before I get into what's been happening and the sad news, or I mean it may not be sad news, it could be just a new beginnings, I thought I'd show you some of the cruising and the things I was getting up to. This clip here is me on the way to the winding hole, where I needed to turn the boat round and head back up the Grand Union. In a moment you'll see there's the winding hole, and now I had to make a decision. I'm on the wrong side of the canal. I'm not over to the right, because at this moment I'm thinking I'm in a car. And if you see here, I've got a boat cruising along, and now I'm trying to work out whether or not I'm going to get out of his way. But then again, I'm also thinking he can slow down. Boats can slow down, and that was my thinking. So here I am, attempting to turn the boat round in a winding hole. So as planned, I turned the boat round and I headed back down towards that bridge that I left. The bridge is actually near a main road that goes to a Tesco Express, which I thought was really handy. And I spent the night there, and it was actually quite a good mooring if I didn't have to move on. Now the original plan here was to moor here the night and head back towards Wilton Marina in the morning, where I was going to meet up with my brother and his wife, and we were going to go up through the locks and head up, towards Watford locks, and so on. But in a minute you're going to see what actually did happen. Things didn't quite go to plan, but in the meantime I have got pretty good at parking this boat. And I've got into a routine of getting the back to come in. There you go, a little bit of reverse thrust to slow it down, almost to a stop, so I can jump off with the centre rope and pull the front in, because I'm on my own, obviously. And I'd actually got, I think, quite good at that in the end. And this tended to be my mooring procedure, although you can see the front of the boat is actually way out there. But hey ho. It worked for me, and it didn't always end up like that, the front going out that far anyway, but the objective was for me to bring the boat to a stop, jump off, and just be able to pull it in. The boat, believe it or not, once you give it a little tug, it just comes in on its own. And I pretty much got this solo mooring down to a little bit of a T, where I decided that I would now use the centre line to hold the boat in position for me to go and do the the back and the front pegs, as it were, for the mooring. And a little tip here, maybe not a good idea to leave the centre pin the centre moored, because all you hear is squeaking all night from that nappy pin. Yeah. Yes. So by having that sensor line more, pinned down, as it were, it gives me as a solo boater plenty of time, to get the back set up, and there's me in the front of the boat, and not having to worry about the boat having, keep drifting away from the bank there, the towpath. So it just gives you, I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do when you're on your own, but that's what I ended up doing, using that centre line just to hold that boat in, and it seemed to work out really well. I speeded up a lot of this footage because it did actually, obviously I'm in no rush there, and I just got on with it. And so the next day I headed back towards Wilton Marina, where I would spend one more night in the boat. Now sadly, I came to the conclusion that night, that this boat just wasn't the boat for me. I wasn't happy at all in the boat. I just could not bring myself to start liking the boat. I loved the cruising, don't get me wrong. I loved it out there on that cut. But the boat just wasn't the boat for me. Now, yeah, on hindsight, if I'd seen all the comments that you guys have left me on that last video, it might have helped me and persuaded me to stick with this boat. But at the time, it was just, the feeling was just so strong that this boat was not for me. I'm not saying that I'm not going to get a canal boat. I am going to get another boat, but it has to be the right boat for me, which means I need a bigger budget. On selling the boat, I lost a few £1,000. I lost my car because I handed it down and to my brother, and I won't and can't take it off him. So I have to get myself another car, so that's more money I'm going to lose. So yeah, I've lost out on the deal. But for me to live on a canal boat, on the canals, I have to be happy with it, and I have to make the right decisions. Now, the good thing that came out of this whole experience is I learnt valuable lessons I probably wouldn't have learnt unless I did it. So that's my positive take on it. And I learnt so much in this adventure. I learnt, not just about the boat and what I should have done, all the things I regretted. I also learned there's a really good community out there, and you guys are just amazing. All those comments you left me on that last video were just amazing, and I didn't respond to any of the comments because I was just such in a down mood over this whole thing and couldn't see the positive. But there is a positive in this little adventure I was on. I am going to get another boat, but I need to tick those boxes, and it has to be the right boat for me. And I don't know, I can't really explain it, but this boat really just didn't make me happy. From the very first day I took it out, there was just something not quite right with the boat and me, and I need to have the boat, the right boat. Hi guys, yeah, so as you just saw, I gave the boat up, and it was a very hard thing for me to do, because obviously it's a lot of money that I'm playing around with as well. Thank you for all your comments on the last video. Really were good comments, inspirational comments. It's a bit of a shame that I didn't read all those comments before I made my decision, because a lot of the comments you made really did make sense. And yeah, I think after reading the comments and I'd calmed down, maybe I would have kept the boat and looked for a marina, you know, and then just moored it up in the marina and worked on the boat. But I don't know what it was about that boat. I just wasn't happy from the first day I was on that boat. It's just something about it. I think it was just because there was too much work needed for me to work with, and I learned so much throughout this whole experience. First thing I learned was get the right boat for you, or right boat for me. 40 foot wasn't big enough really, even though I was on my own. I think a 50 to 57 foot would have been better, with different seating areas. Sitting on a bed makes you feel a bit like you're in a prison cell, and that was a big thing. And lighting, but that was the boat. The boat needed a lot of work. So yeah, the right boat was a major factor. The other thing was, because it's such a big life change, I think starting off on a mooring in a marina would have been ideal, because at least you got the hookup, you got the car, and you can do stuff on the boat until it's ready for continuous cruising. That was a really big thing, so it's definitely a must for me anyway, is to start off on a mooring. And money, make sure I'll have to make sure I've got enough money to, obviously, for the mooring and to survive on. When I bought that boat, it wiped me out completely, and that was a bad move, and you know, I just rushed into it. So having the budget, the boat budget, and a little recess budget over the top of that, just to pay for all the extras, insurance, licensing, marina costs. I suppose those are the main things. Obviously living expenses, just to tie you over for the first month on that boat, and I didn't account for any of that. So that's a lesson learned. Am I going to get another boat? I am going to get another boat. Sadly, this has knocked me back, and I've lost money on this whole thing, because the marina took their commission. I sold the boat for about £1,000 less than what I bought it for, so I lost about £2,500 on this whole adventure. Yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but something you just got to deal with. I've got to deal with, and I will get the budget up. I need a bigger budget for the boat. That boat budget was 21,000. I think for a reasonable boat, I'm looking at about 27,000. That's still an old boat, mind you. If I can get it up to 30, brilliant. I think that's the budget for a workable boat, in my opinion. Yeah. So yeah, I am going to get another boat, and I am going to start again. In the meantime, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. This is my vlogging channel, and I do want to keep vlogging everything that I'm doing and going on. It did sort of turn into a narrowboat channel, obviously, because that's what I moved into. But I sold the narrowboat, and I haven't got a boat. So I don't know what's going to happen. I probably will continue vlogging, and I will be getting another boat. But this has really put a spanner in my works. I just got so depressed and stressed in that boat. I really can't put my finger on it, really, about what made me feel that way on the boat. I think having the bed in the living room was a big bad move, because it just felt like I was sitting in a prison cell. The lighting, I had no lighting, I was using a torch. The boat basically was too old and needed too much TLC for what I could give it. If I was quite well off and rich, no problem, money talks. Money would have got me into a marina really quick, and on hookup, and I would have had lamps and stuff, and stuff like that. But that's not where I'm at. So the boat was a bit too old for me, which tells me the budget was obviously too low. So budget is really important, I think. It's probably worth holding off longer to get that budget up, because the boat was quite old, the engine was quite noisy, the boards needed replacing, they were wobbling every time I moved. There's so many little things in the boat that needed doing, and yes, they could have been addressed over time. But I think addressing those issues over time whilst continuously cruising, I don't think was a good idea in my view. Power was a real issue. The fridge just kept going off, the red light kept flashing. So the batteries obviously needed replacing. All that stuff can be done, but with my mental health, it was just too much all at once, I think. And I was going to stress overload, as you could probably tell from the last video, and I'm feeling a lot more upbeat now since I got rid of the boat. And I did lose out on the whole thing, but I expected to lose. And if you can look back on my videos, you can see I tend to jump very quickly when I make a decision. I bought the boat, I sold the motorhome, bought the boat, and I think it's only a month or so apart. So I jump very quickly, and that's something I also need to address. I'm jumping too quickly into things without thinking it through. Hence it's cost me money, time and everything. And yeah, but I learned a few valuable lessons, as I just said, and most importantly is the community. You guys were and are just amazing. The comments and support you gave on that last video was really great, and part of me wishes that I saw those comments before I jumped on selling the boat. Would I have changed my mind on selling the boat after the comments? I don't know, but it might have inspired me to think, well, maybe I should be just looking for moorings. I find all that sort of thing very stressful, phoning people. It really stresses me out talking to people on the phone. But maybe that would have given me the motivation to have gone and done that. Wilton Marina, I did ask them if they had moorings, residential mooring. They said no. So that left basically phoning around, and I'm not good with that sort of stress, sadly. But yeah, you guys were amazing, and it is a bit of a shame that I never waited till I saw you guys comments and stuff. But hey, I learned a lot. I just need to get this budget back up. I did sell the boat, I lost a couple of grand. I just need to build that budget up to over £26,000, and then more on top of that for all the other expenses. So I'm not far off from doing that. I think it's just going to take me a few months to get there. So obviously I'm medically retired because of my health, so I'm living off of that money. So I'm not rich. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to get there, but I'll get there. And in the meantime, maybe I'll keep vlogging. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really do like keeping my vlogs going. I was getting into a nice routine of getting them out every Monday, and yeah, so I'm getting a bit upset now. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to press ahead with it and see where we go from there. Anyway, If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. It really does motivate me to get out of the house and do stuff. I do need to sort out another car, and maybe whilst I'm building up my budget, I'll go out and do the audio around the canals and stuff. Put some of that up. Yeah. Anyway, talk again soon. Thanks again, and yeah, see you soon.